Hey, everybody. Welcome to Open the Gates. I am your host, Matt Burke, and tonight we're going to be having on Pete Samedi. He's going to be talking about King CRYPTID with his second campaign. So if you guys could give a warm welcome to Pete, that'd be awesome.
Hey.
Pete, what's up, man?
How Thank you for having me, man. Been doing good. Just had a crazy conversation on my channel with Murph and Dirk from Murph and Dirk Duke It Out. And we talked about anything and everything. I'm looking forward to being on your show tonight because it's always a blast. So let's see what we got.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Thanks for coming, man. How's who's this? We got the
Hey, what's up, Blue Teddy?
Hey, how's it going, man? How's everything going over there on your side of the
It's going good. Good. Busy. You know, I'm in the middle of a campaign fulfillment right now on an alternate campaign and getting everything together with the King CRYPTID campaign, and then also getting stuff together with an alternate campaign that's in demand right now for August releases, and we're looking to get that out there to everybody in September. So that's going to go to print in a couple weeks too. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's a very busy summer.
It's nonstop, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, you know how it is.
Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, man. You seen any new movies lately?
No, not in particular. At least I can't. None of them stand out. Not new, anyway.
Nothing cool or original.
No. What I've been watching lately is so generally in the background, what I've been having on as I'm packing up orders and whatever. I found a YouTube channel that has uploaded the entire Sightings series. You ever see that? Sightings back in the 90s.
I mean, was it just like people like home footage of people like sighting UFOs?
It was kind of like an unsolved mysteries sort of show.
I think I might have seen that. I think so.
Yeah. And I've been doing a deep dive into that. I just got done with season 1 today as I was packing up all the stuff to ship out. But usually I'll have other types of movies on or whatever. Or maybe lately I've been getting into Tales from the Crypt again, like that series.
Where did you get that at? You have access to that?
Yeah. The Tales from the Crypt series is on. You can get the box set. It's on DVD only right now. I think it's like $50. Last time I checked, it was $50 on Amazon. But yeah, so they got the whole thing on there, and there's all kinds of different movies I'll pop in when I'm doing whatever. But right now I'm on that kind of a kick right now.
Did you get to the origin of the Crypt Keeper episode yet?
No, not yet. That's a good one though. That's a good one.
It is, right? It's straight out of straight out of the comics. I mean, they're all out of the EC comics, right? But that one's he's I don't know, man. Like when I saw that episode, to me, it kind of reminded me of like just something right out of like a horror monster movie, basically. Like, you forgot somebody, but
yeah, those shows were great, man. And they had a whole bunch of them back in the day, like Outer Limits and everything too in the 90s, that reviving that series from I believe it was the 60s. But they were all better than that, at least to me anyway, better than the new Twilight Zone that they had at that point in time. But horror anthologies were just everywhere. Horror and sci-fi in the 90s. It was all over the place, and it was just so great. And they just don't really do anything like that anymore. I don't know why, but I just can't get into a lot of modern stuff in terms of just film and TV and whatever. I'm going back and digging up stuff that either I didn't see a whole hell of a lot of when I was young, or I saw maybe a couple episodes and I was like, oh, I really love that. Let me see if the rest of it's really good. So just doing deep dives into that.
Me too, man. That's all I've been doing, basically. Like, that's basically what the show me and Brian do most of the time. Like, I'll pick my pop culture, American type horror stuff, and Brian usually pulls some random one out. He did this one called The Dead, which was a apocalyptic. They're doing it right now. They're over there with him and Preston, and they're talking about it. It was a zombie movie, basically, and it takes place in Africa. And it's pretty good. It was like basically kind of like a Italian style, but also had George Romero feel to it, but it also had heart to it. And I was saying every good zombie movie, with the exception of Return to the Living Dead, which is my favorite zombie movie, has a heart string that pulls on you, that'll make you, like Train to Busan. I thought that one was really good. I also like Dawn of the Dead, the original, and I don't know, I just think that the zombie movies, they gotta have that, like, that tearjerker moment. Otherwise it's just
Yeah, otherwise it kind of feels like you're just seeing the same 5 minutes over and over again.
Yeah, and I was telling Brian, I was like, So I mean, nothing new under the sun, but I was like, what if it was a story, a comic, a movie, a video game? If it was just animals that are zombies that just come and attack you. The humans are all fine, but only they're zombified. And I started like, imagine the raccoons and the coyotes and the opossums just coming out and attacking people. And then Preston and Ryan were talking about what about the rats in New York? You know, I'm like, oh, people are skating on them; they're so big. You know,
yeah.
Full force. And like, I haven't really
done
seen
anything like that.
I've never seen anything like that. I think
that would be interesting.
Even if it was like a one shot for like an anthology, I think that could be fun. You know?
Yeah, zombified animals.
Yeah. What's up?
That'd be interesting. Because they're almost like, and you could do the premise super easy in terms of like they're almost like cryptids.
Yeah.
Where they're these creatures, you know, and you could have some kind of government thing go wrong or whatever, and all of a sudden,
I think actually they did do that in the Wayzine, the guys over at Comics Way. I just now thought of it. They did an ape apocalypse, but I really didn't even think about it though until now. Probably, I don't know. It's crazy, but it's hard to explore like new things like with these comic or these iconic like ideas, you know, like Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula, vampires, zombies. You know, they're evergreen, you know, iconoclasts that you can like go back to and keep trying new things with it. It has the audience, but it's still hard to do it. But you know, like I'm gonna go see the Demeter, you know.
That's the Dracula movie, right?
Yeah, and I had tickets to go see it while they were filming that one, or you know how you get the tickets sometimes to go to the movies and you score it while they're filming it. Sometimes you could do that. I had that for Renfield and that one. I missed out on both. I wanted to go see both of them, but I, you know, didn't get to go. But with this one, I think it could be pretty cool. But the one thing that's kind of getting me is the CGI Dracula in some of the scenes. It looks like he's live action in some of the other scenes, but it's just kind of like that's why I didn't go see Morbid. I haven't seen Morbid Time yet.
I wish it wasn't. That's the same thing with me too. Because I'm like, I like the look of everything else when they're on the ship, at the storm that's occurring, and even some of the actors are pretty top notch. Yeah. But then when some of those Dracula scenes, I'm like, why'd they have to go with the CGI?
When he came in with the bite, he was like, I was like, no.
Yeah, and I'm like, the little sharp teeth, the little sharp digital teeth.
And I told my buddy too, I'm like, dude, we got to go watch this movie, man. Like, it looks pretty dope, you know? And we're like kind of pumped for it. So I'm like, man, hopefully there's like a good amount of like live action, like, otherwise it's going to be it's going to annoy me a little bit. But
yeah. I mean, something like that, and I don't know who's directing it or anything, but
it's the Troll Hunter guy. Remember the Troll Hunter movie?
Oh, okay.
That guy. Right. And he did another pretty big movie too. Like it escapes me. It's a Norwegian director, but
because all I could think of is like Guillermo del Toro could have done a really cool thing. Get Doug Jones in there as the Dracula vampire.
Yeah, and then he would have like alternated from CGI to live action, right, with the puppeteers and animatronics.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, he's pretty good at like augmenting the puppetry and the costume with CGI as opposed to like here's just a full blown CGI.
Yeah. Did you see The Strain? Did you watch that or read it or anything about?
I watched it and I dug the first couple of episodes, and the first season to me wasn't too bad. I couldn't stand the kid in it, like the son.
It's kind of annoying a little bit.
And then when they switched him out, it got like even worse.
Yeah.
And there was so many things, like everything, all my complaints with The Strain kind of hinged around the storyline with the kid. And I read that the book was different in terms of how they played that out.
That sucks.
Yeah, that the books were better. I really loved Eichhorst on that. That actor is top notch. He'd make a killer Red Skull or something like that, or Doctor Doom.
Yeah, dude.
I forget his name, but he was really good on that show.
Are you talking about the big one? Or
no, I'm talking about the Nazi dude.
Oh, okay, yeah, he was great.
Yeah,
he was
the vampire guy. Oh, he was great.
He was good, and then towards the end, I think 3 and 4. Did you see like the vampire that was a hunter that hunted him? He had a bone sword.
Yeah.
He was pretty dope. Like there was some cool like, and then like the luchador, kind of like El Santo. Like there was little like characters in there that were cool, you know. But there was definitely like some slow kind of parts throughout the show. I don't know, that could have been.
Yeah, there was some like,
you know,
some character inconsistencies, I thought, and then a couple of the way they would react in certain scenes and settings. It was very odd.
Yeah,
but
totally, man.
but yeah, it had all the makings. I thought of it could have been something really great.
Yeah, epic.
But they had to focus a bit more on the stuff that was more important. But I think they thought, especially that whole thing with like the son when he's detonating a nuke because he's pissed that his dad doesn't want to be with his vampire mom. It's just like, are you stupid or something, kid? Like you're not young enough to be that stupid.
It's not that heavy yet.
You don't get that your vampire mom is that's a lost cause, man.
Right. I thought it was funny too, though, how he kind of rolled over his what were they called, the Reaper strain from Blade 2 into that, basically, you know.
He's
like, I got this cool concept, I'm gonna take it over here, and boom.
I love Blade 2. I like Blade 2 even better than the first one.
For me, like, it depends on what day of the week it is. Most of the time it's Blade 2, but some days I'm like, no, I like Blade 1. But I like them about the
Blade
same.
Blade 1's solid movie, but yeah, Blade 2 was like, oh, this is great.
That was next level, Pete. Like,
and then Blade 3 was like, what the hell did they do?
It's like, like people always talk about epic facepalm, but like that's the epic facepalm is Blade, Trinity.
Blade
it's
3.
Like, all these kinds of what the heck's going on in here. But
Blade 3, Blades of the Damsel in Distress.
And was it Triple H? He's just like running around with that weird. He just looked funny in there. Yeah. I remember seeing Blade 2 and just being awestruck, and it was just I still haven't seen anything like it. Like, it's just really, I mean, there's like little dodgy, I guess CGI here and there because it's 20 years later.
But, it's like barely
God.
there kind of stuff. Yeah,
the fights, and then like I always say, like, Wesley Snipes is irreplaceable because he brought his own like snipe foo. Like, if you probably watch the special features and just all the little like mannerisms in his fighting that he brought to that movie. Like, I don't.
They had to reinvent the character for the comics because it was so iconic. The interpretation that he was giving.
Dude, and I was saying, if you're gonna do Blade, like, go full, like, put it in the 70s, give him like that costume that's like,
great.
With
get
the
Michael
big yellow
Jai
sunglasses. White. Yeah, get Michael Jai White, and like he could totally do it. He already did Dynamite. I didn't even think about Jai White, but yeah, he did Dynamite. He's perfect. He could do all the moves.
Freaking amazing movie.
But imagine that, and like make it kind of like Spectrum exploitation, but not too much.
Yeah,
it could be fun, and you have to go in a new direction. You just can't cookie cutter Snipes. I mean, I'll watch it, but it's just like, man, I don't know. It's crazy. What do you think about all that stuff they're talking about on the news now about the, hey, there's artificial intelligence, with the government.
Oh, man, that's like the big conversation.
That's, bro.
This is like the fourth. This is like the fourth day I think I've had this conversation on a show. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. No problem. Okay, I'm gonna only ask you one thing. Specifically, what would you like me to comment? Because I can make the whole show about this.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think it's bullshit, or do you think it's actual, like they're giving us breadcrumbs?
Man, I think it's like anything else involving that kind of a thing. I think we know what they want us to know. Okay. It's kind of because with anything like that, and honestly, I think in many ways it's already too late. By the time it's kind of like the baseball is coming at you, and by the time that you see it, you go to swing, you're gonna miss it. It's already too late. So you got to time it to actually hit that ball, and sometimes you'll miss, sometimes you'll hit. But if by the time you see it start to be, okay, there it is, you're going to miss. It's just going to, and that's how everything is in terms of the way they deliver a lot of this news, a lot of this kind of technology, that it makes you think that it's like, this is just where we're at. No, this isn't where we're at. This is where they want us to know that that's where they're at. Like, this is not even close to anything resembling the previous years of a beta test. Like, this is like 20 years later. Now we're seeing. So they're already 20 years ahead of where we think they are right now.
Right.
They're just letting us see, okay, well, this is what we've got. But they're already working on stuff that would blow your mind, because everything, especially a lot of the stuff I look at where it is so dated. I'll look at a lot of stuff from the 90s or the early 2000s, or sometimes like the Iron 80s Man? Or 70s. Yeah. But not even that, too, but like documentaries and different shows.
Yeah,
and they'll be talking about things that they're in the midst of developing, and I'm like, wait a second, we have that right now.
Yeah,
and they're like, it's 50 years down the line. We have that now. This was just 30 years ago.
Yeah, like, are you snake oil or what? Like, come on, modern style. Like, Like there's this YouTuber that tries to make like Tony Stark stuff. You've probably seen him, something Industries, but he was trying to basically like all the stuff that was in Iron Man 1, all the tech that he had, we kind of have it already. So he he does the pulse blast. He's doing a flight suit, like all that stuff. I just is very similar to what you're saying.
Yeah, so even when it comes to AI and people thinking about certain things with AI that, they're developing and, it's not right there yet. No, it's already there. It's already whatever you think the AI is at, that you think it's going to take them years to get to, it's already there. It's just we're seeing the rollout occur.
Right.
And for us so this is what drives me nuts about that whole Hollywood strike. Is them going, if we go on strike, the studio will cave into us, because that's obviously the whole point.
Right.
They'll cave into us. They'll realize how important we are. They'll start giving us our fair share, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And then they'll also stop using the AI in a way that's going to make us all obsolete.
Right.
Based on what?
Yeah.
Based on what?
What are your grounds for this?
Yeah, and I'd also like to know at that point in time when CGI was taking over everything, when that was eliminating the need for costume designers or sets or anything else that was involved, anything substantial, the puppetry involved. Where was everybody striking for that? To say that digital is encroaching too much upon the artistry. Where was that? I didn't hear a damn word. If anything, all I saw was a lot of actors at that time. Like, this is great. We don't have to spend hours in makeup or,
We can make everything now. Anything you want.
Just put some dots on me. I go in the big, giant green screen room. I don't got to do stunts on any level whatsoever, because you're just going to handle it. Like, if any actor out there, and they've all done it, it's even an indie film like the one I made with the chair, if any of them out there have ever said, just fix it in post. If you've ever said that, go F yourself with the strike. Because that's what that is. That's essentially saying, like, we don't need to do this as human beings. You'll just fix it with the computer later on, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. People are all right, so there's this movie theater that's in my neighborhood, right? And it used to be, at one point, it was the biggest movie theater in the world. I seen Batman there. I seen Batman Returns there. My pop seen Conan the Barbarian there. It's just my movie theater. They closed it down for 5 years or so, dude, because of the pandemic. They reopened it. They sold it. I drove by yesterday. Now it's a $5 movie theater. The lines were like $5 Tuesdays and $5 Sundays. The lines were like all the way out the door around the place. Like, I'm like, dude, people are going to the movies again. Hell yeah. It's just like that $5 thing. And like with my kids, I'm like, looks like we're going to the movies on Sundays now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people are down, dude. They're down to go back to the movies. And
that was a norm for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how many movies they would re-release? Disney was notorious for it. They would re-release movies all the time into theaters. And all of a sudden they just one day these companies just largely stopped, and even when they did a re-release, it was mostly because it was like maybe an anniversary and they did it in a small amount of theaters or the Titanic was just insane. That thing was in like theaters for a year.
Forever. Remember? It's just like, okay.
Oh my God. Can you go away yet? I think we all know how the movie ends.
Maybe I'll rent it now, like, I don't gotta know the whole story. Been in the newspaper like nonstop.
Yeah. But it's like that's you got this theater there and you got all these companies with these movies that a lot of them haven't been they never got a chance, let's say, to actually get their proper fair shake at a theater. They're now cult hits. So instead of them like wanting to remake Clue, which was a conversation for a couple of years, the original release of Clue didn't do all too well in theaters. Why don't you release that now that everyone freaking loves that movie and it's a cult hit?
And you don't have to spend no money, really. Just kind of distribute it a bit.
And then even if you got to pay some of those actors or whoever, some residuals or whatever for it, who cares? It's far less than what you would have to do to recreate the whole thing. No one's going to like it anyway. You're just going to sink money into the thing, and it's ridiculous. And instead,
there's tons of movies like that.
Totally. It's the equivalent of if a band is still touring like 20 years later and they're still together, but they absolutely refuse to play anything other than what the new stuff is. It's worse than that. They want to now just play the rewritten versions of their songs. and you're like, wait a second, what?
I know
So
some bands do that.
you go,
kind of, but
yeah. Like let's say I go to see AC/DC and they want to now they don't want to play any of the stuff they've ever done before. They just want to play rewritten versions of Back in Black and Hell's Bells and Highway to Hell and and you're like, what? That's not the song. And that's literally what they're doing in the movies all the time. But then meanwhile they come on here, they strike and they preach artistry. Artistry my ass. It's just money. All it is money. You guys would totally be letting them use AI if you could let them license it from you, and they were getting money for that. So you'd take that fat check for that obsolete privilege of you getting just obliterated as a human being. But as long as you got money and licensed it, I guarantee they'd all do it. And then they all kind of preach about and go, well, what about all these actors and they're new or they don't make a lot of money and this and that? You see the A-listers that are in their $20 million mansion and they're coming along with the tiniest violin for the little guy who's, working 1 or 2 movies as an extra a year.
Yeah, it's hard for you up there.
Yeah, and they're taking on their thing. It's all about taking Hollywood stars love to take on the victimhood of others and project it that it's their own. We see it time and again.
Always.
And they could go up in the picket line with their phone or have a YouTube or have social media and interview and literally be hey, what's your name? What do you do? What movies have you been in? What's your situation like right now? And get these people actual attention and get them coverage, and use their platform to elevate these people and their situation. They're not going to do that. Instead, they're going to be like, there'll be all the people behind them, and they're there with their little sign and their big friggin' grin.
Yeah, and then you got Bruce Banner out there right now with his wardrobe from the TV show, like when he was a bum. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you just made a new movie, bro. Come on, you're a new TV show with your cousin.
Pick me up 2 blocks down with the limo. Don't let them see me.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your Halloween costume back, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
what's going on?
It's insane. And then they'll be like, oh, look at how many of them are, Oprah just donated over $1 million or The Rock just donated over $1 million to the cause. Why don't you guys use that money and actually make a production?
Yeah,
and then you can hire these people and get away from the studio system. How about that?
Totally. Yeah.
What a concept, right?
Independent,
Because the studio it's a war of attrition. Every strike is a war of attrition. Who can outlast who? Right. And you're not going to gain the public sympathy if they're talking. Do you get residuals, Matt?
No.
I don't know many people that even would know what the hell a residual is. Like your job would give you residuals. Most people are like, well, I get paid when I work.
Yeah. I get paid when I do overtime, so that sounds good.
Is that like stock in the company? Is that like a 401k? It's like explaining residuals to people who aren't within the creative field. And you're not getting residuals because you created the concept. You're getting residuals because you were in the thing. Well, you got paid to be in the thing at that time. Now, if you took a contract and you negotiated to get residuals and a percentage, and this is how much you would get on the profits and whatever, and you did that individually, and then you weren't getting paid that, then it's called, you sue them. It's called a lawsuit. It's not called a strike.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It seems like a very weird thing. And then the whole AI concept is like, well, the only way you're actually going to defeat AI or compete against it, because you're not actually going to defeat it, is for you to then create something separate. So you have to leave that system. You can't go within that system. It's like when we were at Alterna with Diamond and distribution, you don't go into the distribution system, experience what it's like, recognize all the wrongs in it, and then go, I'm going to change the system from within. Well, what power do you have to change this? Oh, if I'm going to go on strike. And if they don't change that distribution system, well, they're just not going to get my books. And then they go, yeah, but your books are like, 0.001% of what they make. Well, there's no power there. So you need everybody on board, and everyone on board is not going to want to do that. So if you want to actually change the system, you have to get out of the system and create your own system.
Got to, man.
And that's what these guys aren't doing. They're going in there and they're begging the power players and the system that is literally like the little puppet master, and they're like, please, they're like Oliver Twist, please, sir, give me some more.
with their pockets out with lint and little flies. I think for me, as if I wanted to be mean, I don't know. A lot of people probably like to be an actor when they're like a kid or something. You know, like me, I watched a lot of movies. You know, and I thought I'd like to be like a background actor or character actor or something like a Gary Oldman or something. You know, but if I did it, like, it would be about kind of like the role in the movie. You know, I feel like if you want to be an actor, it really should be about the art. Like maybe go get a job doing something. There's a lot of character
And for
actors.
so many for so long, it really was. You know.
Yeah, dude. And like there's this guy named Robert Knepper. He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah. He's
and
great.
He worked at like Griffith's Observatory and all these other fucking places, you know. And he wanted to be an actor, like you know. So
and they bring so much to those roles. There's so much nuance and layer, and even if they're just character actors,
to be there
made
and show up.
Movies.
Yeah. And he's there for the art form of acting, I think, you know. And I think if you're really an actor, sorry, bro, go get a fucking job and
where are the actors? Where are the actors nowadays that want to disappear completely into that role? I mean, even you look at superhero movies where you're supposed to disappear into the role. You have a damn mask most of the time, for Christ's sake. And meanwhile, you're going down there, and every 5 seconds they take their mask off. The poster, the mask is off. Half of the movie, the mask is off. What are you doing? And it's because they're celebrities. They got to know that it's me. It's me.
Yeah, exactly. The narcissism, you know? Like they have to brand themselves to. They look at it as a job at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Give me like the Hugo Weaving, who you don't even know what he's doing in V for Vendetta. You just hear the voice, and he's still in the damn thing. He could have just done voice work and did the ADR after the movie, and not even showed up a day on the set.
Urban was down, you know what I mean, with Dredd. Like everybody loves that movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Like everybody that reads comics loves that.
Every
movie.
5 seconds showing the face, and they got to know it's me.
Right, the whole movie he wore that helmet, you know, and I don't know. I just that's the way I think about it. You know what I mean? It's just a crazy world, man. Have you seen any new cryptid, anything in the world of cryptids out there? Any new stuff lately?
I haven't seen anything necessarily new in terms of like a discovery or a story or whatever. I've been watching a lot of different interviews with people in terms of not just researchers, but also people who've experienced something or witnessed something. And there are a couple of strange sightings going on lately around Canada, and then a couple in South America as well.
In Colorado, maybe too, right?
Yeah.
About the giants, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was about to start talking. I don't know if we were talking that last time or what, but I heard my lady showed me this thing online, a theory, right? That a lot of the reason we were going over to the Middle East a lot of the time was to extract Nephilim DNA. And it's heavily guarded.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It's heavily guarded in some places
one of the
over
most
there.
War-torn places in the entire world for how long?
Yeah, and it's just like a theory, and like that was why we kept going over there to keep extracting it, and it's at some mission. I forgot the name of the place that every country has. That I'm sorry, like we have one over here, and they have one over there. Every single country has one. Embassy, I think.
An embassy. Yeah.
So it's at an embassy. It's an easy word. I always forget. The obvious escapes me. It's at an embassy somewhere, and it was guarded up. It was in a museum somewhere, guarded up. And I gotta DM you the link to that. A few weeks back, or a few months back.
Well, it's like the entire thing with and they wink wink nod to it with Indiana Jones with the Ark going to the Smithsonian. But if you look up the Smithsonian, oh my lord, it's like the place where they hide everything in plain sight.
Yeah,
there's so much crazy stuff.
It's so easy to hide things too. And I mean, like. It's not that hard. Like even if you got like a regular big warehouse, you know what I mean? It's right there, you know. And I don't know if you saw the thing online or like videos of allegedly somewhere in Africa. I think it was Ethiopia where they had the Ark of the Covenant, and it was in a church and it was guarded.
Oh, yep, yeah.
With, like AK-47s. I'm like, yeah, it might be in there. I don't know, but I mean, it was very interesting, you know?
Yeah, and the people who were more in direct contact with it were suffering the same kind of ailments that were described in the Bible of those that would be exposed to the Ark. Yeah,
and I was just thinking, it could be there. It could be there, you know, if you know. But the whole, like, Nephilim thing, I thought that was very interesting. And it kind of, like, some of that kind of coincides with Goliath from the Bible, you know, like, with the extra finger and the extra teeth and... just you know, different DNAs and whatnot. And then the whole story about the guy in Colorado, how like he seen too much and then disappeared. I think he was commenting on YouTube or social media, and he's just gone. He's gone now, that he had seen something up there on the mountain, yeah, it's crazy, man. That's crazy. I'm always fascinated with giants, though.
Oh yeah,
all over the place.
There's a lot of history of giants too in the New England area.
Oh, really?
From both the structures that have been made that are thousands of years old to a couple of bones that are clearly belonging to people of 8 to 10 feet in height. So there's a lot of different things like that. There was all kinds of, I forget the name of it right now, but there's even a race of people who were on average 7 to 8 feet tall.
That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of around the time of like Neanderthal, maybe a little bit earlier or later. I forget exactly when, but I forget the exact name of it. But they found all kinds of bone structure, all kinds of different things where it's like these were on average the height. And this isn't, some kind of story or some kind of legend that was told. This is actually archaeological findings of these people. So it's always funny to me when people become so dismissive of certain things, because a lot of things that we consider today, or we considered, I should say, in the past as metaphysical or things that were supernatural or paranormal, now today are so commonplace that we don't even, we just shrug when we hear them. Just even the concept of that
aliens over
here. It would have been considered impossible magic. You'd be burned at the stake in certain time periods, and then now you got today. It's like,
now you got this. Yeah, whatever. Like that's basically what it is, It's hilarious, dude. I also heard that too, like with the giants, the bones of giants. Allegedly, Washington found some bones. Lincoln found some bones, found some mounds, some tombs, and allegedly the scientific community didn't want to admit that because it would kind of throw off the theory of evolution a little bit, because you have all these humanoid primate, subspecies and species, whatnot, evolving or just coexisting at the same time. You know what I mean? And then you have like cave paintings and hieroglyphs of whatnot of these giant tribes around the globe cannibalizing people, and then Homo sapiens saying, F that, we're going to take these MFers out. You know what I mean? They're eating us.
Yeah. Even evolution, it's insane, because even Darwin's theory of evolution, he probably, if he was still alive, would be like, guys, give it up.
Yeah.
Like, there's been so many instances where this doesn't apply in a couple of different ways to humanity specifically. Like maybe for a couple other things. And obviously you can see evolution play out in terms of the traits of the parent goes to the offspring and et cetera, and it passes down. But in terms of creation, because that's the problem I've always had with it, was people that are like, well, they're using the theory of evolution to explain creation.
Yeah.
And that's not what that evolution's already in play. It's the adaptation of the created work. Yeah. So it's not going to explain how we got here, why we are here, et cetera, et cetera.
100%.
Yeah, so that's always bugged me, even in school. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't explain
the spark.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I heard too that. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say that Darwin's theory with all of that, he was even like, if there's instances where it doesn't make sense, like it really has to be kind of taken a closer look at. And there's so many things within human evolution where we're missing. There's so many things missing from the fossil record. There's different things that don't make sense about our genetic code that don't exist with anything else on Earth. There's so many things that don't make sense at all and don't fall in line with it. And now, of course, we do have evolution occurring within us now that we're here. Right. But to explain the way that it's been explained, like the primate evolution going to humans, it's practically as crazy as saying that this flower one day will turn into a dog.
Right.
Is that it's like what?
Well, like even I think the guy that started atheism or whatnot, he was saying that like the newer finds, I think within the last 5 to 10 years, it was saying that this is like too technical for it to just kind of like, or he was something, a greater being had to create this stuff. Like it's just I forgot the words that he used, if it was him, and from my understanding it was that there was a creator that created this shit. And I'm like, but we're talking.
Yeah, and it's whether you want to call that God, you want to call that a greater being, you want to call that something else. It's whatever the frame of reference is, whatever the word for it.
Yeah.
It's we're all talking about essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time we get lost in the semantics of it and the spirituality and the religious side of it. But we're all talking about the same thing: prayer, meditation. If you get into states of prayer that are deep enough, you really do start to tap into an altered state of consciousness.
100%.
And it's the same thing that happens with meditation. It's achieving the same result as well. There's a lot of different things where we're calling them different things, but we all mean the same thing. And if we could just kind of get past that and just go for the deeper meaning of like, well, this is the word we're using to say it, but we all mean the same thing, I think we would get to where we're going a lot faster.
Oh, totally, man. And we were talking about some crazy giants, man. You got some big guys on your next campaign right now.
Oh yeah,
King Cryptid campaign 2. I got the campaigns up right now. I was wondering if you like, I could share it.
Yeah, let's share it.
Folks.
I love talking to you with all this other stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here to talk about a book too.
Oh man, you guys got to check this out. Let me share it. Oh hell yeah, man! I could talk your ear off for hours.
And hey, everybody in the chat, hope you guys are having a good night. Thanks for joining us tonight. But yeah, King Cryptid, we just passed the 19,000 mark. We had a couple of backers throughout the past hour and a half or so. So I haven't had a chance to update the campaign just yet. I have to do that manually. But thank you guys so much. So on the campaign, we got this little nice scroll here of the issues. We got the front and back covers being played out. And the first 4 issues are already available. The next 5 right now are funding. We're creating those. And we got the White Mountain Yeti, which is an 8-footer, 500-pound beast.
That's it. Yeah.
We got the Dragon Vanderkin standing at 16 feet tall. King Cryptid is 7'2", so you get that sense of height. It's twice the size of King Cryptid. Then you get Wendy the werewolf. Now Wendy's not that big, being a female werewolf, but
gotta get still a formidable,
poster, dude. Yeah, still a formidable foe there for King Cryptid.
Oh, yeah.
For now. Right. Anyway, because they do have kind of a misunderstanding of sorts, because the real villain within issue 7, that werewolf story, is Victor Lugo. And there's a lot of things going on with Victor Lugo in general. He has a massive character arc. We're going to see a lot of him in many different incarnations throughout the series too.
Yeah, we got a little tease of Victor in the first book.
Yeah. We see what kind of happens to him. We'll see him again. Based off of what happened to him in issue 1. It's kind of like what happened in issue 1 with him, his mindset anyway, was this is business, this is what I gotta do, I want to get paid, this is my job, I gotta do what I'm being hired to do. But now there's a streak of it's personal for him with a lot of this.
Oh, so we're gonna get into that. And I love the way, I know we do have a couple new viewers for them. Maybe Pete, you could tell them a little bit about King Cryptid, a little bit, like a little a little idea of like what he is,
So this is pretty great. If we could actually scroll above, I haven't even had a chance to read this, I think, to anybody yet, in case they haven't read it yet. But this isn't in the book, so it's what King Cryptid is saying. So if you scroll down a little bit, get the word balloon in there. So this is King Cryptid directly talking to you, the potential backer or reader of the series. So he goes, "Hello, while you may know me as the creature called King Cryptid, that is not who I am. My name is Crowan. I do not share it with many, but I'll share it with you. It's been almost 500 years since I was betrayed and cursed, and in the centuries since, I have protected the innocent from man and monster alike. But now a deadly new threat has emerged, one that I have never seen before." And so basically he talks about an evil that combines dark magic and corrupt science. So he's seen all kinds of things in 500 years, essentially. He used to be a human being, was betrayed and cursed by his own people, turned into this creature. And his curse was supposed to be that he was going to be this ravenous, killing, feral beast. Now, King Cryptid, when he was a human being, he doesn't remember a lot about it. But I do, because I was there 500 years ago. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about it, because he can't. So King Cryptid, when he was a human being, was someone who truly had a love of humanity. of his fellow human being. Tried to do the right thing, tried to be helpful, tried to be somewhat of a hero in a way, a good person. Those who needed help, he would try to help them. Those who were sick, he would try to be there for them. Those who needed food, he would try to help feed them. So this is a good individual. It so happened that he was helping people that his own people did not like. And what happened was that eventually they turned on him and cast him into this sort of appearance. Now, part of that curse was that he was going to be this beastly, killing, awful creature that would be aware. He would be aware of what was occurring, of the things he was doing. He'd kill and eat people, animals, whatever. But he would be powerless to stop it. So it would be a living nightmare of it eternally for him. Hell on earth for this fellow. 100 years of this happens. 100 years. So day in and day out, he's doing these things. Now, he loves, as a human being, he loved not only people, but he loved animals. He was one with nature and everything else as well. Had a great respect for animals and a great love and affection for his fellow creatures as well. So to do this for 100 years was like the worst thing he could imagine. So whatever you think, whatever you love, imagine you're doing that day in and day out. You're killing it. You're hurting it. You're causing it pain. Live with this for 100 years. So he comes across this Wampanoag shaman by the time he makes his way up to the northeast, to the New England area. And this shaman has heard all of these different stories about this creature and goes, this must be the guy. Because the name King Cryptid was a mocking title given to him when he was cursed. And then it kind of stuck throughout legend. So eventually it's been lost to legend that was the origin of it, and he just looks the way he looks, and it's been called King Cryptid because of whatever. But all these different languages, all these different cultures in the region had a story about this beast. So this shaman recognizes this is who it is, and he must be this guy through these stories I've heard that was turned and cursed into this thing. I should help him. So he has the ability to do something, and that something is give him this cosmic moonstone. And this moonstone, unbeknownst to the shaman, has all kinds of different powers to it. He's aware that it's powerful. He's aware of some of the things it could do, and he thinks this could help him. So he tries to give it to him so it would break the curse. But all it really does is it brings out his inner humanity again. So he stays relatively in the same form. It's a little bit less feral, a little bit more tamed looking, kind of the way you see him here, because when he's really in that ravenous killing feral creature mode, he's a bit snarly, twisted, red eyes, a bit more kind of scraggly and ferocious.
We haven't seen that
looking.
one yet. That's going to be
haven't seen that in the books, but
there.
it will be. It'll be in issue 10.
Oh really? That's soon. I thought it was going to be a little longer. That's interesting.
It'll be in issue 10. It's a king-sized issue that'll be about a 64 pager.
Nice.
With about maybe 56, 58 pages of story, and it's going to be called Killer King. That's the issue of that.
The Killer King size edition.
Yeah, so we'll see King Cryptid in that. We touch a little bit upon some of that origin of what I'm explaining right now. So basically, it enables him, that moonstone enables him to bring about his inner humanity again. But because of that, he's controlled by the moon. So the full moon augments this power he has, but the new moon, the more that the light of that moon diminishes and doesn't power up that moonstone, think of it as a lunar cell. The more that happens, the more he depletes that power and the moon isn't there to help him out, the more he's going to turn back to that feral state. So that's happened before. That's happened before when he was relatively new to all of it. But he really tries his best to not have that happen again. So the way that he does that, he's got this spring inside of the cave layer that he has. It's composed of the same things that created that moonstone. When eons ago, this meteorite crashed right into the cave and formed this whole thing. So all the minerals of that crash combined with the waterfall, and then it trickled in and made this thing over the ages that managed to sustain him through that spring. Yeah, so he has to get back there and kind of restore himself on the nights of a new moon. So this way, when he depletes his power and he gets to zero, to basically refuel, he gets all snarly and gets feral again and goes out and kills and feeds. Normally, as the moon kind of recharges his batteries, he doesn't actually need to go eat. He likes to eat. His favorite food is maple syrup, straight from the tree. That pure raw maple. But because again, he loves animals, he loves nature. He's not really prone to eating animals. But that's the thing, is he wants to avoid getting in that position where he does have to end up feeding on anything and everything.
That's
Animal,
some
personal
information right there, like someone could use against him possibly. If they were to know about that intel.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's been missing from the scene for about 30 years because he decided that, you know what, because at one point in time, we're going to get to all these issues too, because there's a lot to cover, a lot of ground to cover with this series. But at one point in time, and we touch upon it in issue 6, he's talking to the old man of the mountain, which is kind of like a mentor to him.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And he comes to him when he's at moments of kind of like an existential crisis,
right,
more or less.
You got to. Yeah.
And he goes to this fellow who's 12,000 years old. So King Cryptid's 500, but this dude's 12,000.
He's a pup.
Yeah, so that's essentially the dynamic. He's very wise. He's seen everything. He's been through it all. So King Cryptid can turn to him when he's at these moments of what should I do. And of course, being the wise, I hesitate to say creature, but being the wise being, I guess, that the old man is, he knows that he can't tell King Cryptid what to do. He has to find the path himself. So King Cryptid decides at that point in time, and this was in the early 90s, that he's going to just stay to his corner of the world. He's going to stay in the White Mountains, and he's going to do what he can do to make sure that everything is good here. Because he can't be everywhere all at once. He can't keep doing this. He can't go around all over the place he's desperately trying to redeem himself, is what it really is. Even though he didn't do the bad things that he did, he didn't have a choice over it, he still feels horribly about them. So he's still trying to find a way, because he's like, that's got to be a reason I'm still here. He's thinking, why haven't I died yet? So he's got to be thinking, well, this is what I have to do. This is what I should do. And then he eventually decides, you know what, I'm going to take care of my little corner of the world, and I'm going to guard this area. So he's been doing that for 30 or so years. But now he's seeing, like what he stated above, that he's seeing this weird combination of dark magic and corrupt science, and they're merging, and they're creating and doing something to the entire world that has never been seen before. And it's becoming faster and faster. It's encroaching upon not just the rest of the world, but it's at the heart of it. It's attacking exactly where he is. And it's been breeding kind of under his nose the entire time, so it's been hiding in plain sight. And there's a specific reason why. There's a reason why this organization, this entity, whatever, has been lured or attracted to the White Mountain region, the same way that King Cryptid has been attracted to this region. There's all kinds of paranormal activity that's been attracted to this region, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and we get to some of those within the series. But at the heart of it, this organization thought King Cryptid must have been dead, because as they were building up under his nose, he was also sitting around doing whatever he was doing under theirs. So they were kind of like passing ships in the night, but now their courses are, boom, hitting. So they're realizing this dude's alive, and he's just shot to their top of the most wanted list in terms of wanting him, because they want desperately a lot of the different things that make King Cryptid who he is. Some of which King Cryptid's not even aware of yet. So we get to that as well eventually in the series too. But we start touching upon some of that within issues 5 to 9. And the first 4 issues, King Cryptid becomes aware that there's weird stuff happening. In 5 to 9, he becomes dead set certain that what's occurring is on purpose, and there's a very, very dark and sinister motive behind all of it. So it really kicks off a lot of things to come within the series.
I really like too, because I read the first campaign, you did 4 issues on that one. This one you're doing 5, so that's pretty cool, man. You threw even more in there.
Yeah. Hell, I would do like 50 if I could.
Oh, right. Oh, hell yeah, I'd read 50.
I've got 40 ready to go in terms of like the ideas all mapped out and everything like that I could just start writing out all the scripts, and if I could get 40 artists to start working on them and I could raise like about $300,000, I would do it. And boom, just go boom, let's make 40 issues.
Sick, that'd be dope.
But yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah,
but,
you never know.
I'm around for the long haul with this series. I got like 100 something issues to tell easily. And I probably have more, but I keep holding myself back because I want to stay relatively focused in the moment, and,
Oh
and
yeah, for
not
sure.
not get too deep down certain paths with certain characters. Because I also like the fact that I can listen to the readers on the characters they like. So a lot of people want to see more of the Behemoth. I'm gonna put more Behemoth stories in the mix
I
as
like the
well.
Behemoth. I was about to say,
Yeah.
man, I really like what you did with the Behemoth, like the
He'll
whole
be coming
origin.
back for next year, yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll have him on an issue next year, and that's going to be a great issue with him.
I like what you did too with like the story with the kids going out into the woods.
Yep.
That was pretty, came out of nowhere, man. It was pretty creepy, and the kids really liked that one.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot to offer. Like again on the first campaign and this one too. Another thing I like too, man. Like they were all kind of like little mini movies. Like I compared like the Batman the animated series where you have one
Totally.
self-contained little story within a book. And I didn't binge read all these either. I'd wait like a few weeks or maybe like a month or so when I read one, and
Yeah,
it's
let him
kind of cool.
digest a bit,
Yeah,
And there are issues too that there's several Easter eggs already kind of sprinkled throughout the first 4 issues, and it's always going to be like that for everything too. So I want kind of like a rereadable factor to it, where you can go back and reread some of these and go, oh man, I caught that, and that's
I missed
alluding
this.
to this thing in like issue 12 or whatever. Yeah. So there's a lot of different things like that play out that'll make it fun to revisit the issues and look at them with more knowledgeable eyes. And you're seeing some of the events play out that you're like, oh man, these were kind of events planned throughout the entire time. So it adds something to it. But yeah, it's great to hear that so many people are enjoying that format, and it's nothing that's original necessarily. This is kind of how stories were told for the longest time. It's just everything started becoming so event driven. It started becoming so much about like this gigantic plot playing out, and everything is just like a little tiny chapter of that big plot. And for me in comics, that's what I loved about comics, was that everything felt like it's a day in the life,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
just
all
random.
kind of,
Yeah,
yeah.
kind of like
and
Seinfeld or something.
and yeah, and the big story arc was the entirety of the series, essentially. You
Yeah,
you just kept learning more and more about the world and everything else. It didn't have like a finite purpose to it. It's like life. When it ends, and that's kind of it. But every day that you spend during the course of that life, there's all kinds of things that occur. And it's the same thing that happens with King Cryptid. Every single issue, there's all kinds of things that occur. We meet new faces, we see some familiar ones. Maybe during the course of time, certain relationships fall apart or certain relationships are strengthened. It's literally just like life. And that's how so many of these stories growing up, reading a lot of these comics or any kind of serialized format of anything, that's what made it, for me, so enjoyable. And that's what made them so real, too, because they were going through very similar things that I was going through, or that the people around me were going through. It wasn't this kind of, this epic, everything's a big, epic, huge,
yeah, yeah.
ridiculous, over the top type thing.
Right, right.
And it's long and drawn out, and it's like, oh my god, I see stuff like that and I get bored to tears, because I'm thinking, first of all, it's predictable, because when you
Yeah,
have a big giant epic, it's only going to go one of two ways. That's it.
right.
So if it's plot oriented, it's going one of two ways. Good guys win or good guys lose. Period. That's it. So you need to have something compartmentalized in terms of the story structure to build it along the way and get you invested in the characters and get you to know who the hell you're on this journey with. If you don't have that, I mean, imagine like if you're going to take like a 40-hour car ride with someone, right? So your journey, that story is the 40-hour car ride, what you're doing. But you don't know a damn thing about who's driving. They're not really talking to you. And when they do, everything they say is just kind of mirroring your own opinion. So you start to almost distrust who you're driving with, who you're in the passenger seat here,
Totally.
thinking, is this person really, is this going to be a good trip? Or am I getting buried at the end of it?
Right.
Like that kind of a thing. Because this person doesn't seem real. They're not
Totally.
fleshed out. They're a little too even keel. They're a little too agreeable. And that's how we see a lot of characters nowadays in modern storytelling. It feels like it's a little too predictable, a little too agreeable in terms of playing up to the audience and what they feel about certain things, and you're on this car ride the whole time, and you're getting somewhere, but most likely wherever you end up on that car ride, you're not gonna like it.
Well,
It's gonna
another thing I like.
be yeah,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
gonna be strange. So yeah, so I try not to do that with the series.
I noticed that too, and like another thing about King Cryptid is he's not 100% OP. He's got a lot of cool powers, but he's
Oh
not
yeah.
OP, and he gets the shit beat out of him, and he takes a licking and keeps on ticking, and usually finds things like a solution to the problem in which a way you wouldn't expect, and I like that about the way you wrote it. It was very unpredictable. I really can't wait to see what happens in 5, 6, and 7 when he fights those big dudes. You're talking about connecting with reality. I love how you base certain issues in certain locations right here in New England. Right here, you pointing to on the campaign on Alterna.
Yeah, we got the issue locations map. Yeah.
That's awesome, man, and it just kind of makes it more immersive for the reader to know that. It's really cool, dude.
Yeah, so if you ever visit certain areas that are talked about in the issues, these aren't made up places. You could be like, that's the same place that King Cryptid was at. You know, and that's what I loved about a lot of the comics I read that were Marvel anyway. A lot of the time they did that.
Oh yeah.
I grew up
Queens.
in New York, and yeah, I had relatives in Queens and Brooklyn, and everything was kind of, it was interesting imagining the characters in that universe out there. But with King Cryptid, definitely, I love the idea of that locations map and referencing real places and even real events that have occurred, and you can kind of do some deep dives of your own. I love the fact that a lot of readers could go, well, he talks about that like it happened. Did that happen?
Right.
And then go look it up.
And then like you do pull from real sources for your cryptids too. So some of those cryptids might coincide with those locales, so that's even more, reading to do and more interest,
I love in terms of character creation for the stories, I love coming up with cryptids that seem like they're familiar a lot of the time, but they're based in the story and the setting. It's not like you're gonna find the White Mountain Yeti, wandering through a neighborhood in the South. It's like that kind of a thing, And there is no White Mountain Yeti. There is no Yeti in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, but maybe there is. Maybe there is. So it's maybe I'm kind of bringing some of these things to life. Who the hell really knows anymore? I don't know how anything works anymore. Maybe the things of our imaginings, we manifest them and they eventually become a reality. If we're living in a simulation, then yeah, I guess that's going to happen. But as far as I know, this is fictional works that are inspired by things that have occurred or by other stories and legends, and then I'm putting them in there. Because some people have said, are you going to put like Chupacabra, or are you going to put Bigfoot, or are you going to do all these other things? And
that's kind of easy, right?
Yeah, it's a little too easy to run the gamut of the list of just, check out cryptids from across the world. All right. Yeah. So it's like, will I draw inspiration from a bunch of them? Absolutely.
It might be fun to hit them up maybe later or something.
Yeah. We might reference certain things, like we referenced Mothman in the first issue with Behemoth being created with the DNA of the Mothman.
Of the Mothman,
yeah, being manipulated.
Kind of spin it a little bit, right?
Yeah, and I want, when readers see that too, a couple of them have said things like, does that mean we'll see Mothman one day? Do they have Mothman somewhere? Or do they just have a vial,
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's
and I love that.
It's like the questions, the dialogues that it opens up,
Yeah.
Keep them guessing.
That's the funnest part.
I love on this campaign too, man. I definitely want to come here. Like, guys, he's got 2 different places where you can back this book, but this is Pete's Alterna site. Here you could, get anything you want. You have all these cool packages, man. You mind maybe talking about a couple of them?
Yeah, I mean, we got the king size campaign subscription. So if you want to get one of everything that's new on the campaign, go for that. That's $400, and you can get all kinds of different signed items on that too. The Supermoon bundle gives you every full moon and new moon special items. So there's 12 to 14 of those. and it's 125. But anything that you see throughout the year that gets released during the full moon and the new moon, if you want to kind of play it, wait in the wings and spot it, and then go at the end and purchase it, you could do that. You also get that included with the king size campaign subscription.
So guys, every full moon, right? Pete's going to be dropping new items. So keep your eyes open. You heard me. Every full moon. All right.
Yeah,
so
at least twice a month, because we got the full, and the next one we just had a full moon, but now we've got a new moon coming up on the 16th. So we'll have last year I just mostly did them on the 24-hour cycle, but now I'm doing it the day before and the day after. So you get 3 days to back. Give it a little more time, a little less stress involved.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But yeah, so if you miss them out at that point in time, and you want to catch up and get all of them, you can do that with those 2 tiers. Otherwise, like, it's gone. Most of them, that's it. They're gone. So the sealed trading card box, we have that there too. People love the trading cards from last year. They love them this year too, because about 600 packs have sold. A bunch of the boxes have sold too. The boxes are really rare and unique in that you get 20 packs, plus you get all the bonus cards involved, which would be a signed card, a power profile card, which is kind of on a shiny, shimmery stock. You get a Moonlit Monsters glow-in-the-dark sticker card. You get a sketch card, a random sketch card from one of the artists, and we have a lot of great artists on board.
Yes,
I haven't revealed them yet, but we got ones that aren't in the books too. So
man.
you could potentially get a Ken Rocafort card. You could potentially get a Kelsey Shannon card. You could potentially get a Dan Lawless card, and
I love all those artists.
Yeah, so they're gonna have one card each within, not just the packs, but also dispersed through the boxes. Because that's the thing too, is that you can get those in a separate pouch, guaranteed. But then you also get packs that are pulled from the production of it, so you could also get more bonus cards within the 20 packs. It's not like you get the 20 pack box and then that's it. You just get those special cards and you're done. So you could get another sketch card or so, or of the other ones as well. And then you also get something that's exclusive to each box, which is a signed 4x6. You're the only person on the planet that will own that signed 4x6. I won't even own one. So yeah, so it's a 1 of 1 for each box, and it's a different 4x6.
Killer.
And then you got the signed bundle, which is obviously it's the signed comics of 5 to 9. It's an episodic series, so you don't need to read 1 to 4, but it'll add to the series if you do read 1 to 4.
Great price too, man, guys.
Yeah, $15.
Killer. That's like a $20 to $25 deal right there. So,
and then we got the collector box as well. So the collector box number 2, that's the next in the series. We got 5 collector boxes we're going to make in total. They all connect and form an overarching image, and there's art all over the damn thing.
I got one.
yeah. It's a lot of fun with that. And then we got new glow in the dark shirt on the campaign with the image here by Nick Hunter, and Nick is he's tremendous, and he's
pretty
done
iconic,
the art
man.
on issue 2, and he'll be on issue 5 and 7 as well. We got the old glow in the dark shirt from last year. If we sell out of what we have, then I'll go back to print on it for the rest of them. The story script as well for issues 5 to 9 is here, so if you want to see what it looked like for the artist to draw from my script, you can go and get that. There's some spoilers in there for future issues though, so beware if you're someone who absolutely hates spoilers. And I know you might think, like, Pete, you spoil this all the time, you keep talking. No, I don't. If you read the first 4 issues, you know that I probably talked about 10 to 15% of what actually occurs in those issues, even though I talk a lot about them. There's a ton that happens in this series. But yeah, people really love to get the script last year on 1 to 4, so I put the one for 5 to 9 again. We got a trading card binder as well, again with that art by Nick Hunter. And so you can put your King Cryptid trading card series in there, or whatever you want to put in there. Yeah, art all over, front, back, side, everything.
Sick.
And then there's we got the trading card series. You can get a pack or several if you'd like. We got a sketch card option where you can actually just commission a card outright from one of the artists that's involved in the series. Or you can get the king size 5x7. It's the same paper stock. It's that tanned paper stock. So they'll go in there with a white gel pen or whatever and accentuate highlights and whatever. Cool. We got the sketch cover commission 2. And then we've got the issues. You could pick the issue singularly if you like. And that's the beauty of King Cryptid. You could look at it and go, wow, issue 7 really speaks to me. I'll pick that up.
I want that.
And you could just get that and enjoy that, and maybe then get the rest if you want later on or whatever. So that's the thing that's fun about the series, is that I want people to be able to have that old school comic book feel where you're like, oh, I can read that issue and I'm not going to be lost. It's going to be a story within that issue that, just not dependent upon the stuff that came before or after. That's great. You could just enjoy that one issue, that one story, and be in and out. And hopefully you really enjoy it. And that's what makes you want to pick up the others as well.
I really felt that way too, reading it. Like I was reading like a book from like the 80s or 90s or even like the early aughts,
Yeah,
or even
yeah.
like part of this, like the 70s, man. Some of the stuff. It was like a real immersive experience.
Yeah, thank you, man.
It's not really around. It's not around in the main industry anymore, at all.
Yeah. It's so predicated on the event and event style, event driven comics end up making everything feel forced.
Yeah, and you have to buy every issue. Like if I want to buy like King in Black, like say like the Null character, I think he's pretty cool. I got to go buy every freaking comic book,
like, to really understand what's happening here, and it's exhausting. You're paying for homework.
Yeah, it's like jeez.
This is like it's a whole other level of like, it's like, this is what I'm doing to escape the insanity of the real world. Now you're asking me to get involved in the insanity of a fake world. This is supposed to be joyful.
Checking it twice, kind of going in there like, oh god.
Yeah. It kind of turns like the fun of collecting becomes like the burden of collecting.
It becomes a chore. It's like a
yeah. And with King Cryptid, we don't have any of that. It's you read what you like and you pick up what you want, and hopefully like you'll see certain characters that you click with, and you're like, oh, I got to get that one. That character is coming back, and things like that. That's a lot how I collected comics when I was a kid. I knew when I read X-Men or Wolverine or whatever, if Sabretooth was showing up, it was going to be an awesome issue. That kind of
he's my favorite. I love Sabretooth. That's cool, man.
Yeah, so we got the blank variant on here as well, and then we've got the print set. So you guys, if you're into prints, you can pick that up. The 6x9 set, you get 10 of them, the front and back covers, and then let's see, what else do we got? So much on this campaign. You can pick up digital as well. So yeah, if you're an international customer and you want to get the digital versions instead, you could do that. You could get 5 to 9. 1 to 4 will be delivered right now. 5 to 9 will be delivered in about a year. And then we got the Behemoth trading card. That's a bonus automatically for everybody. Cool. That's a physical.
Well, I like too. You got a lot of little things that like you can't get all at once. Like a little bit, like some of this little stuff you could get. Like it could be a like a Christmas present or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe I won't get the short. I'll get the short box later, or maybe I'll get the trading card case, like, I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, you could purchase the cards additionally, and if you want me to sign them, I'll sign them for you. There's an option there. And then last year's trading card series, so all the packs are sold out. But if you missed out on getting any of them, or you have a couple of different holes in the first 8 card set, you can go in there and pick individual cards that you need to purchase to complete that set.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the cards are fun too. Did you get any cards? I forget.
I got a couple of them. Yeah, I got these two right here, the King Cryptid Series 1 trading card, and I got the King Cryptid Alternative Series trading card number 8.
Oh, okay,
and then I also got the one that was cut out too. That one was really original. I love it when you do something original.
Oh yeah. We
cards,
got this one here. Right. The die cut card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
The trading card set's a lot of fun because you get a different perspective on it, because we have the front cover has the normal stuff of what the issue's about. We got first appearances, we got the issue summary, all that good stuff. But then the back cover of the issue, that's the second card, would be the Necro case file. The Necro is New England Cryptid Research Organization. And the case file on that offers a different perspective a lot of the time. So you see certain things that end up, exactly, Buddha Bear. Unforeseen indeed. So you get different perspectives on the issue. based on what Necro has to say about it, what their official report and documentation is about that, you know. And you can see sometimes it'll be like, yeah, that did happen in the issue, and then other times it'll be just full, complete, you know, that's not what happened. It was this and this, and you'll be like, that's not what I read,
Right.
you know. So what are they trying to hide? You know, so it offers a different perspective and a deeper thing that's part of the story as well. Again, it's not something that you necessarily need to read, but it adds an element to it that gives you a little bit more depth to it.
More,
keeps it fun.
You know, more of an immersion, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always cool, man.
And then you can see here we got the patches. We got the moon coin from last year. You can purchase that now as well. And we've got the magnet. King Cryptid wants you to read comics, and then we've got the stickers and whatnot.
And I would also say too, man, like I don't know how long these are going to be up here. You guys can pick them up now, but some of these, you know, wrap them up in the good wrapping. They could be really cool stocking stuffers, like a lot of the little cards and the coin and stuff like that. Holidays are coming up. They're going to be here pretty quick. Like they're creeping. Halloween, you know, people are already going to the stores. People are already doing Halloween. For me, Halloween starts like kind of like the end of July. Like we get the horror movies in a lot in the movie theaters. It's the next kind of big holiday. And I don't know, for me, like, and as a kid just growing up, like summer vacation was just Halloween, dude. Like horror movie central, you know?
Yeah, it's like the next thing to look forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's cool, man. You got some really cool stuff right here. I like this Necor, like the badge. Oh man.
yeah. So officially, you know, I'm referring to it as Necro.
Oh, Necro.
But it's officially known as Necrorg. Necro, you know, is the O is organization, but they don't want you to necessarily refer to them as Necro.
Okay.
Even
so
though
it's Necrorg.
Even though we will refer to them as Necro.
Sounds pretty metal, dude.
Yeah, that means something.
Both names.
Yeah.
They both sound like black metal bands from Norway. Or at least Neckhorg does. That's dope.
Yeah. And the thing with that is it's them trying to downplay a bit of those initials, even though at the same time they're out and about in plain sight. But there's layers to this organization. There's several different layers to them. Even the initials. You know, New England Cryptid Research Organization, Necro. But those initials also mean something else, and we get to that far more down the line in the series, but we do get to it.
The last two letters of the acronym, I'm eagerly awaiting. I like that, man. I love how you have all these lined up right there.
Yeah, so if you get the because cards 9 to 18 come out with series 2 of King Cryptid.
Okay.
So if you do get the full set, essentially when you get them all, you would have 2 full pages within your binder. And then next year we'll have cards as well, because we'll have issues 10 to 13 for next year. So we'll have cards for those, and then those will be available, and we'll show them off at that time. I love the idea of having a card set where you're featuring all the covers of the comics. Cool. Yeah,
that's cool. You know what I mean? Because you can always do different types of cards, you know. And so if people want to just thumb through the cards, I remember that. I remember that issue, you know, and it's right there. You know, you don't have to thumb through something so massive. Yeah. It's a cool way to go back and look at it, and what does it look like at that size?
Just a quick little database in that binder, you know.
Yeah,
and then
like a thumbnail.
And then on top of it too, we'll have that power profile subset. That's probably going to be about 45 cards.
That's what I'm about.
So yeah,
I love
so
that
you'll be able to. It'll be very similar to the Alterna series set in terms of giving you power rankings and stuff for characters, but we'll have different things associated with different characters. So it'll be more about that, but it'll be still giving you that insight into the character.
I got 2 questions for you. Bible, bestiary. When are we getting one?
Man, oh man, that's the funny part is that I think if the campaign hit 75,000, I was going to do a Necro Files. And it would be Necro Files number 1. And awesome. Essentially that would be a redacted character report. You know, so basically a field report on the characters. But then also one day I do want to create, when we have enough issues and enough characters to fill, so probably around issue like 25 or so, whatever campaign that is, maybe like 2 or 3 years from now, I would want to include on that campaign a character guide. as a, so you can really get that whole full sense of the world, the characters, and that kind of thing. And then on top of it, years down the road, when we really have a lot of characters and places and locations, I want to create like a field guide pocket size, like 4x6.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That'll have the art of different characters and where you could go find them and where they've been spotted.
Or
really get full immersion.
Or an app, dude, where you can travel there.
Hey, maybe one day. Yeah, totally.
Go on a road trip, stop there, get some pancakes with like double or triple the maple syrup.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool recipe to throw in the back.
I love the idea of that. You could pop open if you're visiting, because we're gonna break out of the New England region at a certain point. And there's a couple different things that happen for that to occur. But we'll get there when we get there. I don't want to spoil anything just yet because those would truly be spoilers to explain how and why that happens. But because there's all kinds of different cryptids everywhere. There's all kinds of different paranormal hotspots everywhere. So it makes no sense if we just keep the series isolated to New England when there's Stonehenge and there's Easter Island and there's, just even simple basic things that we all know of, Bermuda Triangle, all that kind of stuff. But then there's also all these other things like we were talking about with the giants in Colorado, and that there's all kinds of weird things in the Great Lakes. And there's a lot going on up in Canada in terms of that folklore as well. But then you get Eastern Europe, and then you get all parts different in Asia and things like that. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff. I would love to do an Antarctica issue as well. So it makes no sense for us to just stay to New England. So eventually we do break out of that. So when we have that, that'll be really fun to have that pocket guide with all these cryptids and where they've been spotted and located, and the stories and descriptions of them. And man, oh man, like there's so much I want to do with this series that we're going to eventually do one day, but it's going to take time to get there.
I also have the we have these right here. Yeah, man, I can't wait to see all that you're doing with it. I just keep following along. I wanted to show some of the Indiegogo campaign too, because there's a lot of people that are over there and they still haven't came over to check this out. One moment, let me do this real quick.
Yeah, the Indiegogo is easy to remember. You can go to kingcryptid.com. And then the Alterna one, you can go to alternacomics.com/KingCryptid. But it's relatively the same campaign. Right now on the Indiegogo, we got a $25 sketch card that I'll do for 5. It's a 5 minutes, a quick sketch, but I get a lot done in 5 minutes. So if you guys want to get that, check that out. It's a limited amount, available for a limited amount of time. That is coming down at the end of 4 days or something maybe. So it doesn't have that much time left, and that's a featured perk right now.
That's awesome.
But yeah, other than that, everything else is the same. And then on the 9th, on the 9th, we'll have advertising perks on the Alterna site.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, a lot of people have been asking, are you going to have advertising back again? And yeah, we'll definitely have that. That's
cool. So you got it right here, folks. It's basically the same thing. If you want, you could come here, or you could go over to Alterna, which that's what I would recommend, and pick up from there, guys. And I have the link for Alterna in the description and at the top. It's also at the top. If you guys want to go straight to there, it's pinned.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. And yeah, I'm like, if you caught the conversation, guys, before, I'm fully in on all this kind of stuff. This isn't like, oh, Pete's just kind of picking up a new thing. I mean, this paranormal stuff, unknown, unexplained, mysterious stuff across the world, whether it's creatures, places, whatever, it's always been a very deep fascination that I've had. And it's pretty much been side by side with comics. I think it's, if anything, it's probably fueled my love of comics because the stories are so similar. There's so many weird, unexplained things that occur in comics that I think that it just made it so much more interesting to me because I love that kind of stuff. Oh, looks like Matt's away for a second, so I got you guys. All right, so yeah, so it's one of those things where, don't. If you're thinking, oh, I wonder if Pete knows about this, he put that in his story or whatever, chances are I probably do, or I'm at least interested in it somewhat, that I think it would be interesting to you to kind of mention it within the story. There's all kinds of different characters that are going to be there, all kinds of different settings. So it's that kind of thing where I think even if you're not a paranormal history buff or someone who's interested in cryptids or anything like that, I think you'll find quickly that, oh, cryptids, it's just like a bunch of creatures and monsters and stuff. Yeah, okay, I could get into that. You know,
it's such a cool name too, right? Like it's a scientific name, but like for a kid, they think crypt, you know, or something scary, you know.
Yeah.
And I read all the stories of my kids, you know, and I got a 3-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they both had a great time.
Totally.
And my son's like King Cryptid, you know. He really likes the character. I'd love to see like a big action figure of him someday, like a big heavy one,
man.
something I could throw against the wall, you know, like a big.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, kind of vinyl, you know what I mean, like something like the old Turtles but bigger, you know.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Not
one day we'll get there. One day,
maybe, right? Yeah, man. You hear that, folks? Pete's in for the long haul. You could tell he's that this is going to keep going up and away, much like King Cryptid's wing set. So if you can jump on. Have you been listening to any new music lately? You check out any new bands or anything?
Man, I'm so stuck in like a Dean Martin. I don't want to call it a rut, but I'm stuck in like a Dean Martin rut right now.
Oh, that's cool. No, well, and there's so many like bands like that came out that like I haven't even listened to. You know, like I was watching that a Metal Evolution documentary from like 10 years ago with the Banger TV guys. I think.
Oh yeah.
And there's just so many bands that like I never even checked out. You know, and again, like with movies and music, I'm going back into the past rather than going forward, because
same here.
It's the same jazz. I mean, no pun intended, or metal or whatnot. It's the same stuff, like kind of regurgitated. There's hardly anything really fresh, you know. I mean, I got the stuff I like, but
and then when there's new stuff that's out there, and it is out there, they're not putting it out. You know,
no.
That's what's so strange is
takes years.
Anytime I even think to put the radio on, it's either the same stuff that's been played since I was born.
Green Day. I was getting a burger in and out, and my daughter's like, "Oh," and it's like a basket case or what did that?
Yeah. Or it's like stuff that you're like, so this is music.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like,
where's the lyrical value in any way, shape, or form? Where's the melody? You know,
where's the art? It's, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the actors thing coming full circle. You know?
Yeah.
It's the same thing too with the music, you know. I don't know. I feel like I don't know, man. Like, are they there just trying to make a buck, or like do they really feel like they've accomplished artistically? Do they
seriously?
Do they feel nourished artistically? Like I did something. Like I feel okay now with this product?
A lot of the stuff with so much music nowadays, I'm like, do you any of you guys even think about anything anymore?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel anything anymore? Does anyone fall in love? Does anyone have a broken heart?
Yeah.
You know, anything? Yeah.
Like, why are you mad at it? You know,
it's just I hear it and I go, and that's every once in a while, every like 3 months, I get it up my butt to actually put on the radio, and then I regret that I ever did. But you know, there's so much out there that when I do explore for something new that's like indie or whatever, I'm always like, why isn't anything getting played of this? And it's just
nothing.
It's crazy. There was more diversity on the radio when it was run by the mob. And it was a payola thing.
Got any payola? All right.
Right.
Good stuff.
At least they played something new.
Right. Dean Martin, man. Yeah. There's some classics, huh?
Yeah. I've been getting into the whole Rat Pack era, but mostly Dean right now, and somewhat Frank and Sammy. But it's interesting to me, man, because I kind of grew up with that music. They liked it in my family, but it was mostly just the hits, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like for the longest time, Dean Martin to me was, That's Amore and Ain't That a Kick in the Head and all of that kind of stuff. Everybody loves somebody sometime, you know, all the stuff you've heard everywhere. And I love his take on country music. It just that old school country music that was just great. You know, Johnny Cash era, Hank Williams. Yeah. Oh man. You know, just all of that kind of stuff. I loved it, and his take on so many other kinds of songs too, in terms of the old standards. I just love his version of so many of them, and it just feels like we don't have a
Day in the
whole hell
life.
of a lot of
Those songs are a day. Some of those songs lyrically are like a day in the life, but then they have to pick that bubblegum song for the radio a lot, and sometimes they're awesome songs. But sometimes, for me, I like the songs on any genre a lot. A lot of the time, there's more on the album that have better songs, and the lyrics are just more down to earth, and they're telling a story. You know what I mean? They get a little more ambitious and a little more interesting with the lyrical content, and they're telling a story a lot of time for some fucked up stuff that happened to them.
That's how you know when that band or that musician's great. When it's like, oh man, this stuff that hits good, but like the rest of the album is like, man, this is great.
Yeah,
this
right.
Is great.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. Yeah. You pick up any new beers lately or any new whiskey?
No. I think the closest thing I got to anything new was and it's my in-laws' fault. They gave me like 40 different nips for my birthday.
Oh wow.
I think they gave me, I turned 39. I think if I had to count, I think they gave me 39 of them, probably one for each year. And I was I'm set for the rest of the year.
Right.
It was all kinds of whiskey and bourbon and
cool.
a couple rum and a couple of different things. One of them was that was surprising to me that I didn't think I would like was this thing called I think it was like Goldschlager or something.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
like
Goldschlager?
cinnamon liqueur.
Gold Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. I put it in like coffee, make like it's nice.
Nice little pick me up.
Yeah. But they gave me like an Admiral Nelson, and that thing's like, whoo.
Right.
Fire breathing on that one, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes it's cool to. I was talking about on the other stream. I don't know if we talked about it, but that show Primal, the cartoon.
Oh yeah.
I really like that show. That was my favorite show in the last 5 years, like animation and TV. I just really like the show. And Preston Acevedo was on there, and he's like, "Yeah, you can't really work and you can't really draw and watch that show. You got to watch him." Like, yeah, every time I watch that show, like again, like with your books, I would spread it out. Like I had to have my bourbon. I would sit there and watch that show. I really enjoyed it,
That was the thing I hated so much about it, is because of I had to really watch it and I couldn't do it. It's not a background show. I was like,
and they're not saying that to you. They're not talking to you. So
I was like, I'll have to get into this. I watched the first, I think, 5 or 6 episodes, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to get to the rest of this down the line.
Oh because, yeah. I remember you saying that. Yeah. Oh. In the second season, so good.
Because that's what I keep hearing. Because I was like, all right, it's not so bad. I like it better than Samurai Jack, and and then I heard everyone talking about the second season that it's really good. So I'll have to pick it up again at some point.
It's really good. I think it's only 2 seasons. I think
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All
right.
It has an end. This is a beer I'm drinking right here. It's from Germany. It's a Rattleburger Pilsner 150th anniversary. It's pretty good stuff, like for barbecues and whatnot. Got it for I think I got it for $1. Yeah, my lady picked it up. So they've been around since 1872. So I highly recommend this. So
nice.
If you guys want to check that out? Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on, Pete. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover that we didn't cover yet?
Nah, we covered a lot.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So, yeah, I think we're all set.
I
wonder if is anybody still here with us? Did we blow any minds tonight and scare them off?
Hey, you never know. I think there's 3 people watching.
Oh, good.
I'm not one of them. So
I'm not one of them either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Kudos to you guys in the chat. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. And thanks for coming over. It's always a fun time with you, Pete, and always it's a pleasant conversations and great company, and always picking up some new intel, and always learn something new from your brother. And happy late birthday. Your birthday was recently or what?
This is July 4th.
Oh wow, yeah. I think you remember.
Yeah.
You were saying that. That's right. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
Mine was on the 11th too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah, when you were on my show, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
We were on 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Man, oh man, a couple of cancers over here.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
Snip, man.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, That's great. Seriously, thank you for having me on, man. It's always a blast. It's great talking to you and just catching up on everything. And it's just awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. And where can people find you at right now?
Right now, they can find me. I'd prefer if they found me on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Peter Cimedi, I'm on there. Otherwise, you can go and check out my Instagram. I'm at Pete Cimedi on there. There's Peter Cimedi Art, but that's my old account. I'm getting away from that because there's a lot of weird spamminess coming through my feed. And I found that I wasn't reaching as many people. I had like 17,000 followers on there, and I'm getting more interaction now with 200 people following me than I was with 17,000 following me. So I don't know what happened, but at some point in time, my account got totally demoted or whatever.
It's weird, huh?
Yeah. But I'd say YouTube definitely the best place. I'm on there more often. I'm doing the interview stuff with Comic Book Radio. And then if you guys want, I mean, Twitter, yeah, you can go there. Or is it X now? Whatever.
Twitter X sounds like a fucking X-Men character.
Yeah, it sounds like something out of modern Marvel. Twitter X, and he's on his superpower is he's on his phone all day tweeting, right? And his tweets come to life.
Oh my god,
that's great.
He's got a signal on the top of his roof too.
That's so modern
in San Francisco. Oh, man.
Yeah. When he sees the X signal, he knows it's time to tweet. I mean, Z or whatever. You should just call it the shitter and get it over with.
Right.
Everything you type is shit on the shitter. So it's not tweets anymore. You're not on Twitter. You're just making shits on shitter.
Sheets.
Yeah. Just, hey, hold on. I got to make a big sheet on the shitter today. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, totally, man. Well,
I hope he got what he needed out of those servers, because that's where all the money went. To know what was in the Twitter servers, and
that's what he wanted. Yeah, he's a businessman, and he's playing chess and probably some other things too.
Yeah. Hell if I know anymore, man. Oh man, right. But yeah. So you can find me on there. I'm at what it says right there at Peter Cimedi. Cool. I'm on there for now.
Oh yeah! If you guys want, you can find me at Rune Cutter Comic on whatever it was we were talking about, X. And thanks for watching, everybody. And Pete, thanks for coming. And do it again soon. And
absolutely.
Remember, everybody, be bold, be brave, and roll the bones. Know your role. I'll see you guys later.